Now, US President Joe Biden has come across as being out of touch with economic reality in a rare sit-down interview with 60 Minutes that aired on CBS on Sunday night. Now, when asked about the country's soaring inflation and what he could do to help, he said the rate had hardly risen. Take a listen.
Mr. President, as you know, last Tuesday, the annual inflation rate came in at 8.3%. The stock market nosedived. People are shocked by their grocery bills. What can you do better and faster?
Well, first of all, let's put this in perspective. Inflation rate month to month was just an inch, hardly at all.
You're not arguing that 8.3 is good news.
No, I'm not saying it is good news, but it was 8.2 or 8.2 before. I mean, it's not. Maybe I can make it sound like all of a sudden, my God, it went to 8.2%.
He also revealed it's up in the air as to whether he'll rerun at the next election in 2024. Take a listen.
You say that it's much too early to make that decision. I take it the decision has not been made in your own head.
Look, my intention, as I said to begin with, is that I would run again. But it's just an intention. But is it a firm decision that I run again? That remains to be seen.
All right, now to discuss this, I'm joined by US commentator Christopher Stear. Christopher, what did you make of that interview? Is Biden living in La La Land?
Well, yes, he is the answer to that question. But as, of course, we all know, it's not just in that interview, Peter. I mean, the reality is that poor Joe just wanders around and says what he can remember, and that's about it. It's a bit... Inflation's only 8.3. Well, the people I talk to in the US, and I talk to them very frequently, are absolutely outraged where things are. It's 8.3% is their highest inflation in about 40 years, similar to what we're undergoing here in Australia. The price of petrol's gone through the roof, the price of groceries, everything, the cost of living has gone through the roof, particularly power. And that's getting ready to bite in the US winter. Fortunately, for some of the Democrats, that's after the November election. However, I think Biden's just continuing to dig himself a deeper and deeper hole because he just doesn't have it. He doesn't have the cognitive ability to conduct an interview. That's his first one-on-one in forever. And he's had to come out of the cellar that he was in the last election campaign, and he's just bumbling his way through.
But, Christopher, his approval rating has been given a tick after a troubling year. It's just in time for the midterm elections. Do you think that will stick, or do you think the Trump factor will play a big role in the midterms?
Peter, it's a bit like today's polling on the monarchy. There were two polls that came out in Australia today, and one was 75% in favour of the monarchy, and the other one, no surprise from The Guardian, was 50-50. And it's no different in the US. Trump's polling in all states in the high 40s, sometimes over 50, sometimes in the high 50s. That's Trump. And that's half the American voting population. Biden's polling in the 40s. He's not on the upswing unless you read the New York Times or some of the other left-wing papers. He's getting deeper and deeper in to the mire where it counts. And that's in middle America, and that's in the middle of that continuum. One thing you can't run away from if you're a government or a president is a cost of living. That impacts everybody, not just the rich, not just the people who live in Hyannisport, Massachusetts. It impacts everybody. And he's got to be shaking in his boots because it's impacting middle America.
Christopher, the midterms are, what, 7 weeks away? What candidates should we watch closely?
Look, I think Arizona's a great state to watch. It's got some interesting candidates, Peter. Harriet Hageman is the one who beat Liz Cheney, the high-end Republican, of course. Yes. Dick Cheney's former partner. And she'll be one to watch to see if that vote carries through. She absolutely demolished Cheney with Trump's support. Another one to watch is, well, it gives everybody hope, Peter, is a former TV reporter who was endorsed by Trump and went ahead and won the primary and looks as though she's going to carry it in her particular seat in, well, it's not a seat, she's running for governor in Arizona. And Mark Finch, you see, with Trump's endorsements, he's not just endorsing people to run in the Senate, Peter, and the House of Reps. He's endorsing people for positions like lieutenant governor. And the lieutenant governor oversees the voting process. So he's reaching into governors and lieutenant governors. He's endorsing across the board. And around 90% of his endorsements have been pre-selected.
Christopher, now I know you've got the best crystal ball in the business. Let's talk presidential race 2024. We've just heard from Biden. He doesn't know whether he's going to run or not. There's talk that this Republican governor in Florida, Ron DeSantis, who happens to be a good mate of Trump's, he could be a possible candidate. He certainly would be the preferred candidate for the Republicans if, in fact, Trump didn't decide to run. But there's every indication, isn't there, that Donald will run. The Donald will run, won't he?
Well, I'm not too sure about that. If you take the raid on Mar-a-Lago as a look over here, don't look at what Joe's doing, then they're certainly afraid of Trump. They're doing everything they can to discredit him. DeSantis is a possibility. He's only 44, so he's a young president. But boy, when you see what he's done, busing people up to Massachusetts and busing illegals up to Massachusetts in the last few days, he knows how to make headlines for the right reasons. He's got a terrific communications machine right across the states, and he's using it right across the states. So it wouldn't surprise if DeSantis did. But of course, with former President Trump, you never know. You never know.
Yeah. Fascinating insight as usual, Christopher. Great to see you tonight.
Same here, Peter. Great to see you.